everyone. Welcome to Legal Services of Eastern Missouri's new tutorial covering new COVID-19 Missouri food stamps rules and how to apply for Missouri food stamps online. My name is Elizabeth Larson. I'm a staff attorney with the Public Benefits Program at Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. Legal Services of Eastern Missouri provides free civil legal help to low-income people in the community. We serve 21 communities on the eastern side of Missouri. So before I start, I want to thank everyone, whether you yourself are applying for food stamps or you're helping people apply for food stamps, for either watching live or watching this video once it's over. The more we can do to get the word out about food stamps and these new COVID-19 rules, the better. So why are we doing this tutorial? There are a few new rules for getting food stamps in Missouri because of this current COVID-19 virus crisis. We want to make sure people know the new rules and also how to apply for Missouri food stamps online. So I want to let you know that the Public Benefits Program at Legal Services can help you. If you've been kicked off food stamps, were denied, have had a hard time in the past applying, or it's been a long time since you've heard about your application, feel free to reach out to us. I'll show you our contact information. So here is how to contact Legal Services to get our help. You can call us at that number. You can also go online to the Get Help Now tab. I also on this slide, I wanted to put the contact information for the Family Support Division and where to find their information for COVID-19. I'll show this slide again towards the end of the tutorial. Also look in the comment section now for our full contact information to reach out if you need us. All right. So today I'm covering Missouri food stamps and the online process to apply for food stamps in Missouri. If you live in a different state or are helping somebody who lives in a different state, you'll have to go onto that state's website to apply for food stamps or to find specific information about that state's food stamps. So here's what I'll cover today in this tutorial. I'll briefly describe the Missouri Food Stamps program. I'll discuss the new COVID-19 Missouri food stamps rules. I'll show you how to set up an online account and actually go through the application process. I'll cover verification and how to send it in during the COVID-19 crisis. And then at the end, I'll leave time for a Q&A to answer your questions that you've been putting in the comments. I expect the tutorial to take about 20 minutes, and then after that 20 minutes is when I'll start answering questions for the Q&A. Before I start, I also wanted to remind you all to use the comments to ask your questions. My awesome coworkers, Lucas and Kate, are going to be answering some of your questions as we go along. And when you type the questions in, I'll be able to then answer some of those questions at the end that weren't answered by Lucas and Kate during it. So I'll jump right in. So what are food stamps? So food stamps, or SNAP as it's sometimes called, is a food assistance program where the government gives money to buy food each month to people and families who meet certain eligibility requirements. These requirements include income and resource limits, and sometimes other requirements. The Family Support Division has a formula it uses to determine how much food stamps each household can get every month. This means the amount one household can get can be really different than another household. The Family Support Division looks at how many people are in the household, how much money comes into the household every month, and certain expenses such as rent, mortgage, utilities, and sometimes medical bills and childcare expenses. For people who are approved for food stamps, the money is put onto EBT cards, which look like and can be used like debit cards to buy food at most grocery stores, convenience stores, and farmers markets. So going into the COVID-19 and new Missouri food stamps rules. The Family Support Division, which is the agency in Missouri that gives food stamps, is closed to the public at this time. They're still answering questions through their call center, and their staff are still working to process applications and approve applications. The call center has added hours and days to try to get more people's questions answered that way. I've put the new dates and hours on the slide, but also look at the comments section now for the updated days and hours of the call center and the phone number to call. I'll also discuss how to submit information to the Family Support Division without having to actually go into their office a little bit later in this tutorial. So just for people who are going to be calling the call center, a warning, you might run into wait times in order to actually talk to somebody, or you could get disconnected altogether before talking to someone. I'd encourage you to keep trying to call and get through to someone to get your questions answered, even though I know it can be super time consuming and frustrating. So families whose children who are home and their kids while at school receive free and reduced lunch, also being called PEBT, these are temporary food stamp benefits that are going to be available hopefully soon for families with children who normally receive free and reduced cost school lunches. Families who already receive food stamps will get extra money on their EBT cards. Families who do not already receive food stamps will need to apply through a special process. The Family Support Division has not yet finalized how this process will work, so this is not happening yet. No one's getting any PEBT or extra benefits because of their free and reduced lunch yet. Once more information is available, it will be posted on the Family Support Division website. You can also look for more information at Operation Foodsearch.org and on the Missouri Department of Education website. So because of the current pandemic, all food stamp work requirements are now waived. That means your employment status will not affect your ability to get food stamps. So if your application was rejected or you lost food stamps in the past because you were not working or doing enough work, you should reapply right away. So usually the Family Support Division requires somebody who submits a new application to do an interview, either in person or on the phone. But because of the COVID-19 crisis, the Family Support Division is temporarily getting rid of this requirement and will process the application without doing the interview. This will allow people to get food stamps faster. So it is important to know that after you apply, you might still get a letter telling you that you must finish or complete a food stamp interview. During this current crisis, you can completely disregard and recycle that letter. No need to do an interview at this time to get food stamps. Usually to get food stamps, people have to give information to the Family Support Division, such as proof of income, like pay stubs. Right now, because of COVID-19, the Family Support Division is relaxing its rules around verification if someone applying can't get access to this information because of the crisis. The Family Support Division will allow people to self-attest or tell them the information is proof. This will allow people to get the food stamps faster. I'll talk about verification requirements in more detail later in this tutorial. If you have questions about any of these new rules or any food stamps questions in general about the application, go ahead and write them in the comments now if you haven't already done so. Keep an eye on the comments because Lucas and Kate are going to try to answer as many questions in the comments as possible, and then I'll be answering some at the end as well. So what does the Missouri Online Food Stamp application look like? So the process is to create an account, go through the application by entering your information and answering the questions, and then signing and submitting the application by typing your name as your signature. For those who worry about an online application, I went ahead and put the website where you can find the paper application to print and submit. That being said, the reason we're doing this tutorial is to encourage as many people to do the online applications as possible, because these will get processed faster than a paper application, especially since the Family Support Division offices are closed and we don't know which ones have drop boxes available. As we're going through this online application together, I may not touch on every single question that's asked on the application, and I don't have a screenshot for each page of the application. Many of the questions are straightforward and don't need much explanation. However, there are a few parts of the process I want to focus more attention on because they can be confusing and are really important to making sure everything's correct. Also, as we're going through, you'll see my coworker Kate Holly's name on these slides because she's the one who actually went through the online application to get these screenshots to be used for the tutorial. So wherever you see her name, that's where your name or the person that you're helping's name will be. So the first step is to create an account on mydss.mo.gov. So start by finding the online application. On your web browser, type in www.mydss.mo.gov. There, you'll see the green Apply button towards the left side of the screen. You'll go ahead and click that. Once you're on the screen that says Apply at the top, click the blue button that says Apply for Benefits toward the middle right side of the page. It will then bring you to the Missouri Online Application Introduction page. Here, click the circle next to where it says Start a new application for child care subsidy, food stamp benefits, Mo Health Net, and/or temporary assistance cash benefits. This is the right one to pick, even though it has all other benefits listed there as well. Another page may pop up at some point asking which program you specifically want to apply for. Click the box next to the food stamps option if that box comes up. So now you'll be at the part that may take the most time. This is the new user registration screen. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I will say the password can only have letters and numbers in it, no special characters like an underscore or an exclamation point. Also remember the secret word you choose because you're going to be asked to type it in the next step. I'd recommend actually when going through this part that you write down everything that you type in so that you don't have to start over if you want to sign in again later and send verification or reapply. Next, you'll be asked to enter an activation code to continue with the rest of the application. The activation code should have been sent to the email address you entered during the last step. Go to your email and look for the email from don'treply@dss.mo.gov. There will be an account activation code that you can either copy and paste into the box in the application you're already working on, or you can click on the blue underlined sentence saying, click here to activate your account. Then you may be asked to type in your username and password again, and then the activation code and the secret word before you can get through to the actual application. This is why I suggest writing all the information from your create an account section down so that you don't have to memorize it all and in order to sign in to get your information in. Remember to keep writing your questions into the comments section where Lucas and Kate are answering your questions and making a list for me to discuss at the end of the tutorial. Now we're into the actual application. This first page is the expedited food stamp benefits benefit request. This is important to fill out because depending on your answers, you could get your food stamps faster. Once you fill out this section, click Continue to complete the rest of the online application. There's a question on the screen that says you can immediately file the application based on this information you already provided. If you click Yes, it will end the application right then and there and send only what you've typed so far. I'd encourage you to click the No button here and hit Continue to keep going through the whole application, just in case you don't qualify to get those expedited or faster benefits. That way you can actually give the Family Support Division all the information it needs that you haven't had a chance to type in yet. The next page asks who is applying. If you're applying for yourself and your family, click that option. This screen also asks if you'd like to appoint an authorized representative. An authorized representative is someone that you trust who is helping you get food stamps or other benefits. If you choose to have an authorized representative, this person can help you once you get approved for food stamps by helping you go through the renewal process, submit information to the Family Support Division, and can even get a food stamps EBT card to help you buy food for your family. The next pages of the application will ask for basic demographic information like address, phone number, email. It will ask for your home address and your mailing address. If you live at the address where you get mail, you can just type your home address in both sections. If you get mail in a place other than where you are currently living, put the address where you are living right now in the home address section and the place where you get mail in your mailing address section. The application will then bring you to the household composition screen. You'll need to know all the names, birthdays, and relationship to the person applying of everyone in your household. When I say household, I mean everyone that you're living with that are buying and eating meals together. Certain people have to be included in your household if you're living together. Only include people in your household that you live with and are buying and eating most meals with. This will make sure your application is as accurate as possible. Here, the application gives you the option of providing Social Security numbers for everyone. You should list a Social Security number for everyone in your household that you can. While you're able to submit and send in the application without listing any Social Security numbers, the Family Support Division can't approve benefits for any person without a Social Security number on file. That means if you don't put the Social Security numbers on the application, it could take longer to get your benefits. Next is the disability screen. Click the circle next to anyone in your household who has a disability that keeps them from working. You can show you're disabled in multiple ways, including receiving SSI, Social Security disability, Medicaid for disabled persons, or by providing a doctor's statement. You'll then come to a big list of crime questions. I know these are really invasive, but if you don't answer them correctly, you could face some pretty serious consequences, including prosecution in court. If you say yes to any of the questions, it does not automatically mean you can't get food stamps. It just means you might need to work with the Family Support Division to get the information they need so that you can get food stamps. This next section asks about work reduction. This is extremely important right now for anyone that's been laid off or has lost hours because of COVID-19. You'll need to know around what day you or anyone else in your household hours were reduced or lost, as well as the reason. In the reason section, if you put, I lost my job or my hours were reduced due to COVID-19, that should likely be enough. Shortly after this section, you'll be on the signature page. It will ask you to type your name, and that will count as your signature for this application. Once you submit your online application, a thank you screen will pop up. I'd suggest writing down your application number and actually saving or printing the entire application if you're able to do so. That way you have it for your records. So, verification. This slide is actually part of the signature page, asking if you'd like to upload any supporting documents right then and there. While it's not required to finish and send in the application, if you already have the documents handy, go ahead and upload them from your computer. It may make the process go faster, meaning you may get your food stamps faster. The most common verification the Family Support Division needs is income information. The best way to prove your income is through your paycheck stubs that you get from work. Most employers have a way to give you your pay information, even if you're paid through direct deposit into your bank account or into a bank card. They may email the information to you, or there's often an app on your phone that you can sign into and find your pay information. The Family Support Division is interested in your gross income, which means the amount you're paid before taxes, not the amount that actually goes into your bank account or into your bank card. Other types of verification they may ask for include bank account or bank card monthly statements, proof that you're no longer working at a previous job, college scholarships and loans, and possibly other types of verification. If you don't have that information at the time you apply or don't want to upload it with your application, you have a few other options to submit the verification. You can sign back onto your online account and click the Review Account History tab, and then click the option to upload documents. Also, because of the current COVID crisis, the Family Support Division is allowing you to email or fax your verification documents in. I put the information here on the slide. Also look in the comments section now for the email address and fax number to send in this verification information. As I said earlier, you might be able to bring copies of your documents to the local Family Support Division office. The offices are all closed right now to the public, But if you can't upload the documents or send them through email or fax, the offices might have a drop box available to you to drop off copies of the verification documents. But this should be the last resort used because we don't know which offices have drop boxes, some don't have them. Finally, you have the option of calling the Family Support Division call center at 1-855-373-4636. Because of the current COVID crisis, FSD is relaxing its verification requirements, meaning if you can't get the information requested because of COVID-19, you can tell this to FSD and ask that they take your attestation or your word about the information. They should allow you to do this. As discussed towards the beginning of this tutorial, FSD has added hours to their call center to try to get people's questions answered faster. So usually for a new application, an interview is required before a household can start getting food stamps. However, interviews have been waived during the current COVID-19 crisis, which means you'll not need to do an interview to start getting the food stamps. That being said, an interview will be required again for new applications once the COVID-19 crisis is declared over. But for now, anyone who puts in an application now won't have to worry about this. Remember, you might get a letter saying that you need to do a food stamps interview. During this crisis, you can disregard that letter and just recycle it. Again, legal services can help with this process. If your application is rejected or delayed, or you've had trouble with the application process in the past, or you've been kicked off, give us a call at 314-534-4200. Also the lsem.org Get Help Now tab. For anyone in Missouri that doesn't live within our service area, look in the comment section now for the contact information to all the Missouri Legal Aid offices across Missouri. In this slide, I've also included the Family Support Division's contact information in this slide. So I have a few questions here that were typed in the comments earlier. We're in the Q&A section. So I'll start with those. Go ahead and type your questions into the comments now if you haven't already done so. Or if you already typed your question but you haven't gotten an answer yet, go ahead and type them again. So one question is, what can you buy with food stamps and where? So you can use your food stamps to buy most food products, including meat and produce. You can't use your food stamps to buy non-food items like paper, soap, cigarettes, diapers, or other non-food items. You can use your food stamps at most grocery stores, some convenience stores, and some farmers markets. Most places that take food stamps will have a sign somewhere that says EBT accepted here or something like that. So another question that I got was, when do the food stamp benefits actually go on to the EBT cards or the food stamps cards? So this is a really good question. I didn't know this until I recently looked it up. The Family Support Division has a system that determines when each household gets its food stamps onto its card each month. So the day a household gets its money on the EBT card is based on the head of household's birth month and the first letter of their last name. So for example, a head of household who was born in January and their last name starts with A, they would get food stamps onto their card on the first day of each month. For someone whose birthday is in December and their last name starts with A, they would get their food stamps onto their card on the 22nd of each month. So another question that I got was, are people getting more food stamps right now because of COVID-19? So some people are getting more food stamps right now because of COVID-19. You might have heard this called P-SNAP. Households that don't already get the maximum food stamps allowed per month will be getting the maximum amount for March if they already have food stamps, and April. So to give kind of an idea, maximum amount of food stamps for a household of one right now is $194 per. That means if a one-person household is currently getting $100 in food stamps a month, they will be getting an additional $94 on their EBT card. However, if this person, this one person household, is already getting $194 per month, they will not get more food stamps on their card. They already have the maximum, so they're not going to get additional money. So this is happening for both March and April, but the Family Support Division doesn't know if it'll go another month. So I would say keep checking the Family Support Division website, the mydss.mo.gov website, to see if there are updates on this. So now I received some questions from my coworkers that you all have been asking. So let's see what they are. Will drug convictions be waived? So that is a really good question. Drug convictions are one of those things that could keep somebody from getting food stamps. Not all drug convictions, but some could keep someone from getting food stamps. These are not being waived. From what we know right now, no drug convictions are being waived. The same drug convictions rules apply. Another question that I got: if you've been denied in the past for income but recently lost your jobs or your work hours were reduced, should you reapply? Absolutely. You should absolutely reapply, because as I said earlier, the work requirements that are usually required for some households are completely being waived. So you're not going to be dinged or required to go back to work or work right now. And your income could make it so even if you didn't qualify for food stamps before based on income, because your income is less or not coming in at all right now, you should be able to get food stamps. Also, anybody can apply for food stamps. Even if it turns out you're not eligible, you're not able to get anybody can apply for food stamps. My coworker, to test out the application, recently applied for herself and her cats. So anybody can apply. I would recommend everybody apply who thinks they possibly could get food stamps. Even if you're not sure, put in an application online. Let's see if there are more questions. Will this video be available to view later? Yes, it will be available on our Facebook page after this recording is over. If you want to look at it, or if you know anybody who could benefit from it who wasn't able to tune in, I would absolutely say to look at our Legal Services of Eastern Missouri Facebook page. Let's see, more questions are coming in. Awesome. So how do I know how much food stamps I should be getting? That's a really good question. There's an easy way to find out how much is on your card by on your EBT card looking at the back, and there's a phone number. You can call that phone number and ask for the balance. So that'll just tell you the balance that is on there. Otherwise, how do you know how much you should be getting every month? That way you know you're actually getting it. Like I said earlier, it's so specific to your family size, how much income and money is coming into your house, and your expenses, like your utilities, your rent, mortgage. If you have medical expenses, sometimes those will count. Sometimes childcare will count. Certain households will have, even if both households say they have 4 people in it, one household of 4 could have very food stamps amounts than another household of 4, even though there's 4 of you in there. So it's really, really specific to each family. I know the maximum amounts that each household gets. So for one person, it's $194 a month. That's the maximum you can get, and then based on your income and expenses, it goes down and changes from that into can't get until your income is so high that you are not able to get anything for food stamps. So a household of 2, the maximum is $355 a month, and then it goes down and down and down from there based on your circumstances. So I'm sorry if that's not a better answer. I wish I had a more set answer for that question. Let's see. Oh, these are good questions. So one question that came up that we get sometimes at Legal Services too, people call in and ask about this and need our help. This is a household composition question. So what about families that have a custody agreement where the child is splitting time between parents' houses? Who gets the food stamps then? So I think the specific question was asking about if there's a 30-70 custody agreement. So 30% of the time the child or children are living with one parent, and 70% of the time the child or children are living with the other parent. Food stamps rules say in that situation, the parent with the kids 70% of the time is the one that has to apply for the food stamps and get the food stamps. They are the ones that are allowed to get the food stamps. This gets a little more tricky when you get clear 50-50 joint custody, and when that is actually what's being practiced. In that case where it's 50-50 joint custody, whether it's in the custody agreement or it's in practice or both, then it's first come first serve. Whoever puts the application in first is the one that holds the food stamps for the kids. Both households can't have food stamps for the kids. Now the parent with the 30% custody can have food stamps for themselves if they're eligible and able to get it, but they can have their kids on their household and the kids food stamps money. So I hope that wasn't super confusing. That's kind of an in the weeds question. Really good question though. Let's see if there are any other questions. If you have any other questions, type them in now. I think we're doing pretty well on time, but I definitely want to respect your all's time. Let's see if I'm seeing any other questions from anyone. Okay, so another household question that we do get a lot: unrelated adults that don't prepare food together. That's a good question. So household composition is one of those things that I could do a whole nother presentation on, I think. But in this situation, if you have unrelated adults who are living together like roommates, and you're pretty much responsible for buying your own food, preparing your own food, each of you would be on separate households, so you'd turn in separate food stamps applications and each get different cards and different amounts. So that is the question to that, the unrelated adults living together. So I think that is all the questions we have, or all the questions we have time for. Remember to reach out to us at Legal Services for your food stamps issues. This video, like I said, is going to remain up on the Legal Services of Eastern Missouri Facebook page throughout the COVID-19 crisis if you want to come back to it to remind yourself of the process or some of the rules, or to send to anyone or direct anyone to that might need help going through the process. Thanks for watching this tutorial again, and going through this process or helping somebody go through this process. It's important now more than ever to work together to get this. I also want to thank my team for helping prepare this and getting this all together. It's my face up here, but it's all of their work and our work getting this through. So stay as safe and healthy as possible out there. Thank you.